In a major electoral flashpoint ahead of the 2025 Bihar Assembly elections, the Election Commission's special intensive revision of the voter rolls has triggered political and legal uproar. Former Chief Election Commissioner have warned that up to 3 crore voters, especially the poor, migrants, Dalits and minorities, risk being disenfranchised under the new documentation norms. Opposition parties call it a backdoor NRC and have taken the battle to the Supreme Court, which will hear the multiple petitions tomorrow. The Election Commission, however, defends the move, citing accuracy and transparency. Today, Rahul Gandhi and Tejashwi Yadav have held a Chakka jam in Bihar. Rahul Gandhi has accused the BJP of attempting to delete voters in Bihar. The Election Commission has cited Article 325 of the Constitution to defend its move. Let's start off our conversation on the telecast. With me is Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy. He is the former Chief Election Commissioner of India. Thank you very much for joining me. And my first question to you about this protest that has been launched by political parties sitting in the opposition. The number one question they are raising, sir, is why are these electoral rolls being revised now, right ahead of the elections in Bihar? In 2003, we saw the electoral rolls being revised all across the country. So why is this state-limited revision taking place? What is the reason behind the Election Commission only revising the electoral rolls in the state of Bihar?
Is this question addressed to me?
Yes.
Well, as far as electoral roll is concerned, I think it is the primary responsibility of the Election Commission to ensure its accuracy. Though there are other stakeholders who are also to ensure that it is credibly accurate. Unfortunately, the revision of the electoral rolls has been subject to a lot of criticism from various political parties, particularly in some states, including the recent Maharashtra elections. So the Election Commission chose to have an intensive revision. As far as why it is being done or why that particular timing has been done, I may not be able to answer, only the Election Commission may be able to answer. But the intention is obviously honorable to ensure the credibility of the electoral roll.
What do you make of the charges that have been levied by the opposition party, saying that the Election Commission is working at the behest of the BJP to eliminate and delete voters' names from the list ahead of the elections simply because it benefits the BJP? It wants to eliminate voters who are not going to vote for the BJP and the JDU alliance.
I wish I could give you a more appropriate answer. Unfortunately, the criticism of the Election Commission is very frequently, this particular criticism of Election Commission being closer to a particular party or so, is not new. It has been there for a number of years, probably in the last 10, 15 years or 20 years. It has been very common to criticize. Sometimes even personal commissioners' personal criticisms are also appeared. That doesn't really bother because, after all, there is a constitutional responsibility to ensure free elections. It is the Election Commission which has to take a decision as to what steps are to be taken to ensure it's free and fair election. There are always some parties who will appreciate, some parties will criticize. So long as the goal of free and fair election is the primary focus of the Election Commission, I think these criticisms are bound to be there. They have to be met with proper communication with all the political parties. I think there should be frequent consultation and cooperation in communication so that at least some reasonable degree of cordiality is maintained.
There has been another allegation that has been leveled by the opposition parties. They say this is a backdoor NRC that the BJP is exercising through the Election Commission. There are about 3 crore of the 8 crore population in Bihar that is eligible to vote in the upcoming elections. And these
let's be
and these 3 crore voters are new voters that have been born after 1987. And what the opposition is contending over here is that these voters have to show additional documents. They have to show the birth and the residence of the parents as well. Do you think this argument holds ground?
Let's be very clear. What is the responsibility given to the Election Commission? The Representation of People's Act clearly says only the citizens of India over a particular age are qualified to be voters. So if in the process of verification of the voter roll, the citizenship is also verified, I see no reason why we should criticize it. I agree. There are apprehensions among the political parties that this kind of thing, the last moment, will create some problem. So my own suggestion would be, if there are such doubtful cases, let them be segregated and let the political parties take it up with the Election Commission, maybe in a week's time or 15 days' time, and then tell them these are the issues which we want it to be looked into and satisfy that these names are properly included or excluded. There should be a proper communication.
Right. Also, just a few days ago, there was another uproar. The opposition parties, I think the Congress leaders had reached the Election Commission's headquarters. And I think as per protocol, there were only 2 of the leaders who were representatives of the party were allowed to go inside and meet the authority spokespersons, representatives. And this did not go down very well with the Congress. Now, do you think this is a legitimate cause for raising protest? Or is the opposition, at this time fault finding just for the heck of it?
I am absolutely apolitical. I have no particular leanings towards any political party. But I wish to appeal to the political parties as well as the Election Commission to segregate these doubtful cases and then discuss why they should be either included or excluded. There should be a proper communication channel on this regard, but it should not go to the streets and then say that the Election Commission's intentions are dishonorable. It is a question where proper consultation and communication should at least remove the apprehensions along the minds of the voters as well as the political parties.
Sir, do you think in the recent past, a lot of aspersions have been cast on the Election Commission and its credibility by opposition parties? Do you think there is some merit to it? And why do you think the Election Commission is being targeted so many times, and especially when state elections or Lok Sabha elections take place?
I've just completed a book called Beyond the Ballot, Paradoxes of Democracy, which is to be released in about a month's time. This kind of trends are there in many countries. The Election Commission, particularly about its neutrality and so on. It is not something new only to this country. But what is important is there must be some kind of a proper communication to remove the apprehensions in the minds of the voters as well as the political parties. There is no point in saying that the exercise is unwarranted or unjustified. What is more important is if there are flaws, they must be pointed out to the Election Commission, and the Election Commission should take necessary remedial action.
All right. Thank you, Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, for sharing your views. Please stay on with me. I have with me other spokespersons, for political parties as well as other analysts who joining me on the telecast. I'm going to start my conversation with Kuntal Krishna, who is the spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Krishna, let's hear it from you about, as I spoke with Mr. Krishnamurthy as well, there's so many allegations that have been leveled against you, that the Election Commission is working on BJP's behest, that the BJP wants to remove voters' names from the electoral list who are not going to vote for the BJP, and that's how they're going to win the elections. They've also raised the issue of how there were voters that were added to the electoral list at the electoral roll in the last minute during the Maharashtra elections. And where there were these additional people who were added to the electoral roll were the districts, were the regions, were the constituencies where the BJP ended up winning, which were the traditional Congress bastions. So how do you What do you make of these allegations?
My regards to Mr. Krishnamurthy. He made few things very clear. In last few years, it has become a fashion for the opposition to blame Election Commission for every defeat and for every prospective defeat. In Bihar, opposition knows for sure that they are going to face a very bad taste in upcoming elections. Probably their political existence will be at the bay. So, they have started accusing Election Commission. Now see, till today when we talk, out of 7.9 crore voters, the forms has already reached 7.7 crore voters, and around 4 crore filled forms has already come back. Still we have got 16 days remaining with us. RJD and other political parties are accusing Election Commission for everything, including that they are working on behest of BJP. Just to give you a fact, RJD alone has appointed 56,000 BLAs, block level agents. They have already appointed, and this is in the knowledge of Election Commission. What Election Commission is trying to do? It is simply trying to sensitize and scrutinize the electoral roll. There are many reasons for which, yeah. You've got some questions?
Okay, fair enough. Another allegation that is a serious one that has been leveled by the Congress and the other India bloc parties is that this is a tool that is being used by the BJP for backdoor NRC. The number of voters, the Election Commission is trying to eliminate voters by demanding additional documents, which these voters, I think 3 crore of them have been demanded additional documents, and this is not feasible, and that's exactly how it is moving forward with its agenda of imposing the Citizenship Act and again a backdoor NRC. What do you have to say to this allegation?
Can Congress and RJD name any of its leaders who are actual citizens of India and who are going to be denied with their electoral rights? Now, the big question, Congress and RJD knows for sure that in past decades, in past years, they have helped illegal Bangladeshi migrants get fake voting ID cards. This is for sure. This is for sure. Not only Congress and RJD. Many other political parties has got themselves indulged in this act, and they are more worried about this vote bank politics, this vote bank chunk. Anyone who is not a citizen of India and who has obtained fake voter ID card by any means will be scrutinized and thrown back to any state which he or she has come.
Okay.
If that illegal migrant is from Bangladesh, if he is a Rohingya, he will be thrown back.
Okay. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, again, this question is for you. Again, the same, premise on which the opposition is fighting its case. Tomorrow is when the petitions are going to be submitted in front of the Supreme Court as well. Again, the issue, it is being rumored, it is being talked about as per reports. This is about the territory, the region of Simanchal that is bordering Nepal, and there are a lot of infiltrators, illegal migrants who enter into Bihar through that border. This process, this exercise by the Election Commission is going to eliminate them, because they are not the actual voters, they are not the actual citizens of the country, they are illegal migrants that have entered unlawfully. How do you respond to BJP's remarks on this?
I think first of all, I would like to say Mr. Kuntal Krishna should provide a proof that Congress and RJD are, using illegal migrants as their vote banks. I think you come on TV, make some absurd comments and just go away. This won't happen. You should furnish some proof for it. Megha, this exercise, the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in Bihar is not only ill-timed, just few days after, elections would be announced in Bihar. It also reminds us of the disruptive time of demonetization when state exerted its power to induce mass anxiety among voters. We are talking of Bihar. 1/10 of people, around 78 lakh people, migrate outside for work, employment, anything. And these are the people. And then Bihar faces ravaged floods every year, wiping off villages and everything. And then you are demanding 11 documents. And you're not accepting the Aadhaar or the Narega card, which are kind of universal. I would like to quote Baba Sahib Ambedkar here, who said that universal adult franchise is principal to the fundamental to the functioning of democracy, and it gives a right. You have an universal adult franchisee, I have and a Mahadalit has it. Somebody who is a migrant worker has it. A woman across caste and community has it. Muslims have it. Everyone has it. And this unites us all as an Indians. And now when you look at the documents shared, now when these questions have been raised about documents, Election Commission comes and modifies its own judgment. But look at the number of documents here, barring Aadhaar card and the barring Narega card. There's an inherent social bias in the judgment. Employment, property rights, this reeks of privileges, and we are talking about Bihar, where majority of the people are marginalized, majority of the peoples don't have the sufficient documents. You have left the decision making, the discretion at the hands of the BLOs, and who are yet to determine who will be citizen and who will be not. And how does an election commission has a right to determine? Election commission is a body to supervise the elections, not decide somebody's citizenship.
Okay.
And when provide those documents, you were asking about the Backdoor NRC, and I would like to thank Krishnamurthy sir. He was very, very prudent, and he repeated it 3 times. I hope my learned friend also heard it, that any activity, any reform that you plan to take up should include any format, any documentation, any timing, should be in consultation with all political parties. None of the political parties were consulted here. Okay. So not Dalits, everyone is
you made your point. I'm going to get Advocate Manas Thapar into the conversation as well. Advocate Thapar, so the 2 points that come to fore is, number one, the timing of carrying forward this exercise, the intensive revision of the electoral rolls that has been initiated. Do you feel the time was not right and also not sufficient enough? Because in just a few days, I think July 25th is the date, that is the deadline that has been given to complete this entire exercise. There are 8 crore people, and then I don't understand how is it physically, practically possible, because there are, as Pooja mentioned, that there are hundreds and thousands of people who are residents of Bihar. They travel far and wide into the country in other parts of the states to work. They are migrants. How is the Election Commission expecting them to return to their hometowns to fulfill this exercise?
I think BJP has already won the election. What this election basically means is they have made sure the opposition is completely busy in Supreme Court. The opposition is completely busy in the argument of the narrative which BJP has created. And now, while the opposition is busy in making sure that people don't get defranchised from their voting rights, BJP is very secure in their booth management. They have made sure that the opposition is busy, apart from electoral politics, in making sure that they get their voters right. So this is a classic gameplay done by BJP. I don't know this is right or wrong. If wrong illegal voters are made to vote, that is completely not democratic. But if rightful people are taken away their voting rights, I think that is the death of democracy which can happen. So this is something which we have to be very careful. And the timing, see who's right in this timing, who's wrong in this timing, I'll tell you. See, when Pooja says that this timing is questionable, yes, that timing is questionable. But in democracy, when the democracy is believed to be like war and like a war where everything is fair and love and war, and this is like a war for BJP to win this election is very important for BJP. I think BJP is in all proprietary, where dharma is not important. If that is the mindset that winning is more important, then how do you win that election is secondary. So I think BJP is completely right. But the point what comes to my mind would be, no legal legitimate voter should be denied its voting right. That's a simple understanding where I come from, where the understanding which I come from. As an Indian citizen, if my voting right is deprived from me, I have nothing else left for me to be a citizen of this country. So if anyone in Bihar who's a rightful voter is denied its legitimate constitutional right, that is very wrong, which
No,
could
but then
happen.
who decides
An
that?
election
Because,
commission.
because the argument that comes from the election commission and the BJP is that there are a number of illegal people, illegal migrants who have entered into the country through the border in Bihar, and they need to be scrutinized, they need to be screened and removed from the voter list. How do we then talk about what is wrong, what is right? How are we to decide whether a citizen of the country is getting disenfranchised because of this exercise?
But are they getting disenfranchised only in Bihar? Are they coming only to Bihar? In the last 11 years, they came just 11
Fair
days
enough.
back?
That's what
No.
I'm saying. Because in 2003,
So, the
there was a
timing,
nationwide,
they could have done that.
the nationwide intensive revision that was done of the electoral rolls. This time in Bihar is what the election commission has decided to limit its exercise. And that has also been a contention of the opposition, that why only Bihar and why just ahead of elections?
I have only three questions for the election commission and not BJP, because BJP is not the spokesperson of election commission while they're trying to defend election commission. What is the hurry? Why this timing? That's the one question. The second question, just before elections, you realize that there are people who are migrants coming to Bihar and only Bihar. And this also happened in Delhi elections, that migrants were coming to Delhi. That was the narrative. And the third question which comes to my mind is, as per the ground reports of media reports, it is the tribals and the rural belts which have reported mass deletions of their franchise. So this is something which is questionable. An election commission has to come on record and give answers to that. Why do we have to go to every misdeed or every questionable thing which election commission does just before the election? We have to go to the Supreme Court. There has to be a consensus, because the only players which election commission has to deal with are political parties. Why don't you consult political parties? All those political parties who are going to be there in the election of Bihar, you should have consulted them.
Okay.
Do we require a de-enfranchisement right now, or shall we do it later on? Or they could have done it 6 months before election.
Okay,
But what is
alright.
the hurry right now?
Okay. Sumit, quickly a response from you. What do you make of these arguments that have been put forth? The big allegations by the opposition parties against the BJP, and how the election commission is working at the behest of the BJP.
Meghaji, thank you for having me on your show. I think Krishnamurthy sir put the things in a very right and the just perspective. The problem in this country is, you all know, we all agree to one fact, that there are 2.5 crore Bangladeshis and Rohingyas are now all got into this country. I'm not getting into who let them in and all, we know where they come from. Now, can anybody say today where exactly this population is? Can anybody tell me this, how much of percentage of this population is sitting right now in Bihar? And it is not. If it is not, how it is not. If it is, where it is, and who are these people? If election commission is trying to do its job and trying to weed out what is called the unwanted voter, who is basically turning the votes into a different thing, because if I vote for, let's say, RJD, now these voters are helping to Congress to win, then that is stealing the mandate from RJD or BJP or any other political party and giving mandate to a party which doesn't deserve to win. Where are these voters? If we don't identify them, will it be a justice which will be done by election commissioner? Why does Congress and RJD only feel threatened? If these voters are weeded out who are illegal, should illegals be allowed to vote in India? Should a Bangladeshi come and manage somehow some kind of a government identity and vote in Bihar or elsewhere? How do we know this floating population is not floated in every election and they are made to vote and they then leave the place? And then when you question them, you will be conveniently told, ye to migrants, they come, they work and they go. There are a lot of things which have happened in India. The question is, unless and until we have the roadmap, unless and until we know where exactly these 2.5 crore people, at least where we agree on, they have infiltrated country under various regimes, where they are exactly. Because when Congress was asked last time, they would say, why did you allow them to infiltrate? Then when they have infiltrated, what is the election commission doing? Why don't they identify such people? Why don't you allow them to vote? When the election commission is exactly doing the same, trying to identify.
Again, they're talking about the timing. Do you think there is enough time before the election commission announces the dates for the elections that this revision exercise is going to be completed? And then on top of it, is it on the whim and fancy of the election commission when they decide that it is going to be a nationwide revision exercise, or when there is going to be a single state that is going to be their focus area? for the election revision. I would also be interested in knowing how the process works, and can rules be molded at depending on what the current election commissioner, the appointed election chief election commissioner thinks about the situation. So there is ambiguity over there.
Look, Meghaji, the Election Commission is within its right to, order this exercise. Well, the time is sufficient or not, that only the Honorable Election Commissioner can answer. I cannot answer that, but they have a right to do that. And when it is done in one state, you can tomorrow demand it across all the states, because there's a precedence now. You cannot say, okay, Bihar mein chahiye, MP mein nahi chahiye. Then if it happened in Bihar, you can demand it for MP, you can demand it for UP, you can demand it for across all the states. So whatever is happening is good, because my simple logic is, if Bihar has a population of 8 crores and the voters are supposed to be 4 crores, you can't simply go by number. What is the eligibility of the voter? How do we ensure that there are no 2 voter cards which are made? How do we ensure I'm not also voting in Bihar tomorrow? Who will ensure that?
Okay, but my simple question again, I'm going to come back to Kuntal Krishna. The same question. Like I already raised this point, there are so many people, so many Biharis who travel looking for jobs elsewhere, and they only come back to their hometown to vote. How is the Election Commission ensuring that they are being accounted for during the revision exercise? Are they expecting these individuals to come back to Bihar and be part of this documentation process? And then are they going to leave their jobs, let go of their, a lot of them daily wage earners, let go of those daily wages, come back and then come back again during the election time, which they traditionally do?
Megha, let me appraise you with few facts before I answer your question. There are 2 districts in Bihar, Kishanganj and Araria. In these 2 districts, 105% and 103% of Aadhaar cards were being found. 105% and 103%. Second thing, in Kishanganj alone, in last 15 days, 270,000 requests for their, we call that the proof of stay. 270,000 people has applied for proof of stay in one district, Kishanganj, which hardly has got a population of 10 lakh. So this is a fact which my friends must know before there is any question on this. One more fact I would like to bring in your notice, Megha. In 2003, when special intensive revision was conducted in Bihar, it was conducted in 31 days only. So my friends in opposition who are raising this issue of timing and again, that will it be conducted in this short span of time? Election Commission has requested political parties to help Election Commission is getting it conducted. And Election Commission has been consulting political parties for last 4 months. RJD alone has appointed 56,000 block level agents.
Okay, you already mentioned that. We already mentioned that, but you're not answering my question.
Megha, see, the whole process is so transparent that no original Indian citizen will be debarred. No original Indian citizen. But people who obtained their election voting cards by fraudulent means,
I definitely want to get an answer from the Election Commission that is this process also taking place in the rest of the country where Bihari migrants are working over there, living their livelihood, who only come back to their home state to vote. I mean, is that process happening or not happening? Again, that's something that's ambiguous, and I think the Election Commission needs to clarify that. Is that even practical? Is that even feasible for an individual to leave his job and come back to Bihar only for this process and then return and then only to come back for the election? Again, if a clarification could be given on this, it will be great. Otherwise, I think it's an incomplete process because you are seeking documents, fresh documents from last time voters as well, repeat voters as well. But if they are not available in their hometown in Bihar, are you going to strike off their names? So a lot of questions there. On that note, I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, and thanks for watching Newsx.